Hello and welcome to evening prayer. I shared with you last night that I hit a wall last week, and I also shared with you that it turned out I was in really good company, that a good many of us hit a wall last week, which was week 7. And it strikes me that one of the reasons I hit the wall last week is that in actual fact we're very adaptable people. That in fact being sent to our rooms for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, who would have thought that for some of us that would have been relatively easy? But I think by the time we got to week 7, there were places within us that started crying out for oxygen. And so I'm going to share with you what a friend of mine who's a biologist shared with me at the beginning of this pandemic. She said, "Lynn, don't think this is going to end anytime soon." And she said, what is at the heart of resiliency is an ability to adapt to new circumstances. So I think that by hiding out in our houses, which we have been doing, we're in now week 8, we have bread and water and food and animals to walk and friends to call. But I think that was just an exercise in survival. And survival is not resilience. And what resilience requires is that we adopt new habits and practices for this context to make sure that we are getting the oxygen that we need, not just to survive, but to thrive. And I suspect that all of us would concur that oxygen comes in the form of relationships and community. And boy, how do we work that out when we're all sent to our room? And so, isn't it interesting that technology, which we might have been raving against, particularly those of a certain age, thinking it's just keeping us apart, everybody on their own phone, is actually what is bringing many of us together. And so as I read these words by Richard Wagamese, that reminds us that our well-being is a direct relationship to the well-being of our relationships. I would encourage you to consider, if you're in a bit of a rut, which I was in, what kind of practices do you need to adopt in your daily routine to ensure that you get the oxygen that you need to fuel your deep need for belonging and connection? These are days now to get creative and to consider how to build our own resiliency. I'm reading again from Richard Wagamese's book of meditations entitled Embers. From our very first breath, we are in relationship. With that indrawn draft of air, we become joined to everything that ever was, is, and ever will be. When we exhale, we forge that relationship by virtue of the act of living. Our breath commingles with all breath, and we are a part of everything. That's the simple fact of things. We are born into a state of relationship, and our ceremonies and rituals are guides to lead us deeper into that relationship with all things. And this is kind of fun. Every year, once spring has sprung, my world regains proper proportion because baseball is back. I love the central metaphor of the game, all of us helping each other to make it home. Funny how a game can teach us so much about life. At the end of another day, I would invite you to consider all of those people and connections that were part of this day that proved to be oxygen for you, and consider as well your calling to be oxygen to be life for another. Us moving through this pandemic depends on us all accepting the invitation to participate in the beloved community. We are only beloved community together as each of us makes their own unique contribution. I am so grateful for the contribution that friend and stranger alike have made to this season in my life. Rest well this evening, good friends, and peace be with you.